say Fred. We start with that
Indescribable.
game. And wow, what a
Set piece.
and VAR. Am I right? They went to the
Extreme.
and the best team in
Red, white, and blue.
won. Let's go around the horn. So our tape time today before today's soccer game. Yeah, this is awkward for all of us. Horn. Free agency. We'll start with that then. Free agency national panel. Neither free nor agency. Isn't that right, Sarah Spain?
And a peanut is neither a pea nor a nut. Discuss. I'm book club. Talk
Amongst yourselves. Thank you, Linda Richmond. All right, the pitch schedule for Kawhi Leonard. Lakers, Clippers, Raptors. Stephen A., what do you think?
I have received a word that Kawhi Leonard is seriously considering the Los Angeles Lakers. The Clippers are very, very nervous right now.
Quite frankly, the Lakers. The Lakers, George. Is this real?
Reality, this is very real. This is what happens when you have the two most powerful forces in the NBA working together, the brand of the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James. And now that Anthony Davis is in the fold, you have to look at the potential of arguably the greatest trio in the history of the sport potentially getting together. And here's the difference. This isn't like LeBron joining Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami where he didn't have a title, or Kevin Durant joining the Warriors after losing to them and not having a championship. Kawhi's a made man. He's a two-time Finals MVP, and the pull of home, I think, weighs large on him. So if you're going to do it, why do it with the Clippers? If you're going to leave Toronto, the Lakers could be a real player.
Tim Kalisha, how do you hear all this?
I think the Clippers are thinking what Sedano said could very well turn out to be true. You have to look at it the way Kawhi would look at it. And at first you think, why would he go there to be the third part or one of the big three? But realistically, LeBron's not going to be there forever. So he knows in a few years, hey, me and Anthony Davis will fight over who gets all the acclaim. But in the meantime, if he did decide to join that team and wants to be part of the biggest story really in the NBA or sports, if those three are together, then the table is set right now.
Sarah Spain, the table's set for you?
Well, if it's about joining after LeBron is no longer a factor, he could sign a 1-year or 2-year deal with the Raptors, keep that team that just won a title, and then go to the Lakers after that if he still feels compelled to. I will never begin to say that I have any idea what Kawhi Leonard is thinking. I don't think any of us do. But what he should be thinking, what I think he might be thinking, is that why would I be leading a Raptors team with 0 lottery picks and then go straight from that to the far less satisfying journey of joining 2 other superstars to try to beat up the rest of the league? Why not continue what he did with the Raptors, with the Clippers, also gets to go home, bring them a title, something they desperately need, and be the guy who does it, not one.
So that's the argument for not going to the Lakers, for either staying with Toronto or going to the Clippers. And that's what you think a guy you just said you can't thinking about that.
Might be thinking.
Speaking of might be thinking and what a guy thinks or thinks. Yeah, Stu Gotts, go ahead, please.
Listen, I disagree. I think Kawhi Leonard's one of those guys who wants to be the alpha dog. He doesn't want to share credit with LeBron James, and therefore I think he's going to go to the LA Clippers, Tony, because what a great story it would be, okay? You just slayed the Golden State Warriors, what many people consider to be the greatest team in the history of the NBA, and now you have a chance to go to LA, where the Clippers have always been the second show in town, and you have a chance to take down the Lakers with LeBron James and Anthony Davis in his own city. Kawhi Leonard is the alpha dog. He is not a guy who is going to be LeBron James's Scottie Pippen.
So you think the appeal there then is to go back home to Los Angeles, but to do it with the Clippers?
Yes.
Tim, let me ask you this. Any read on the schedule of the meetings? Lakers, Clippers, Raptors?
Well, that would lead you to believe that Toronto is still very much in the running. And all three of these scenarios for Kawhi Leonard are great. It's a great story, whatever he does. But he makes a lot more money if he just stays in Toronto, and that can't be that bad of an idea for him.
George, you said something earlier, and I want to get back to it right here. The idea that LeBron left Cleveland first time and took a lot of grief for that, right? And more recently, we saw Durant leave Oklahoma City, grief for that. Kawhi leaving Toronto would not have the same type of energy, would it?
No, I don't believe that to be the case. He's the king of the North forever now, okay? He brought them their first championship. He validated basketball in Canada. So I think no matter what happens, look, there's always going to be people upset. Nothing is universal these days, but I think he's done his part. He went there. He brought them a title. What more could he do? He could leave if he wants.
And still, you think that's the case as well?
100%. Yeah, he can absolutely leave Toronto. And yeah, you'll have a handful of fans who are going to be upset with Kawhi Leonard for leaving, but ultimately he delivered them the ultimate prize, and that's winning an NBA title. He did something that DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry could not get done. They couldn't even get to the NBA Finals, let alone win an NBA championship. So I would find it hard to believe that anyone in Toronto would be upset for Kawhi wanting to go home after he won.
One last thing here, George, you're in LA. There was an entirely second conversation about the Lakers and the cap going on. We did this on the show as well. Were the Lakers unsure what was going on, clueless what was going on? Did they not play it right? What does the fact that the Lakers were able to pull off the ability to get another max player and mean to you?
Well, it means that both things can be true, okay? I believe in the reporting of our colleague Ramona Shelburne when she said that the Lakers had to call back because they didn't understand what was going on in that particular scenario. The Lakers fans and the Lakers should be sending gift baskets to David Griffin to open this thing up. So I stand by Ramona's reporting, but ultimately Rob Pelinka and the Lakers really are going to be judged by the results. And they got Anthony Davis, and they may get Kawhi, or they may get something else, and that's enough. They may win a championship.
Sarah Spain?
Yeah, the result is what matters, but let's not forget that it took another 3 players and another 2022 second-round draft pick to figure this out after the fact. If they knew what they were doing in the first deal, it would have been a part of it, or it would have been done without needing to add all of that. So we don't owe anybody any apologies for the proper reporting that was done on this. That doesn't change that they've now opened up the space, and now we see what they do.
Tim, you want to add to that?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's so much that anybody needs to apologize. I will say we did for about a number of weeks or months or maybe a whole year treat them like they were the Knicks. And they've never been the Knicks, and they're not going to be the Knicks. They're going to be the Lakers again very soon.
George, the last word on this.
Really, when you buy
the person we need to apologize to.
Go ahead, Stu.
I'm sorry, Sedano. I just bullied you right there. The person we need to apologize to, I'm not apologizing to Sedano, is LeBron James for thinking he still doesn't run this league with his agency, with his production company, with the fact that David Griffin did him a solid. For those of you who thought LeBron wasn't running the NBA still, you are wrong. LeBron fixed this thing, and we owe him an apology.
What? Sedano. Oh, my goodness. Stu, guys, just trampled you. Look where Sedano is. Look what the heck. All right, we got to move on. Yankees, Red Sox, London. Here's the pitch. And here's the pitch, literally, West Ham's pitch. A lot of foul territory you might be seeing here. 385 to center, which would be the shortest center field in baseball. They do have a little bit of a wall there, mini green monster. Tim, is it okay that the field's set up maybe for more home runs here for the London audience?
I think they'll get their share of home runs, and I think it's okay, but I think that you also have to consider, Oakland is the best pitcher's park in the American League because it has so much foul ground. This supposedly has 4,000 more square feet of foul ground than Oakland. There are going to be a lot of foul pop-outs that pitchers are going to appreciate to keep from giving up all those 385-foot home runs.
Sarah, when you see the field look like it looks, make you more excited for this game, or does it make you think something's a little bit quirky here?
I mean, certainly excited for Europe to get a look at some deep balls because there are going to be a lot of them. If I was a pitcher, I probably wouldn't be happy about the way they've set this up. And if I were someone who maybe loses the end of the year home run battle to an Edwin Encarnacion or a Sanchez or somebody who had a couple extra licks because of this field, I probably wouldn't be happy about that either.
Dugatz?
Baseball's dying in America, Tony, the national pastime. So we're going to try to fix it in London with 2 teams that Americans actually still care about and a rivalry that Americans still care about. Why are we sending Red Sox and Yankees to London? So, can we dip our toe in the water here and maybe send them, I don't know, Pirates, Orioles first before we send them our game's greatest rivalry and 2 teams that we actually still care about?
So you have an issue with that to begin with. Why don't we just send them the Jaguars?
And this whole thing, it feels a bit gimmicky. Like, why? These are meaningful games to these 2 teams, to these 2 fan bases, and it feels a bit gimmicky. It feels a bit gimmicky?
Maybe because it is a gimmick. Yes, it is. I mean, that's why it feels that way. We have the Yankees and the Sox, 2 of the most popular teams in this sport. They're going to London, George. Do you have a problem with that? Like Stu? Like Stu Gatz does?
No, I don't have a problem with that because if you're going to send something overseas, send them your best. Yeah. The problem with the NFL is they send them the Jaguars and the Titans all the time. That's why I don't think the NFL's doing anything out there in London. It's why I don't think the game is growing at the pace that it should. Baseball's doing the smart thing. And the other thing about offense, okay, look, offense sells, reality, whether it's the NFL, whether it's the NBA, Major League Baseball. Remember the old saying, chicks dig the long ball, right? That was an MLB commercial at one point. So you got to go and you send offense over there. There's a 380-foot wall in center field. You're going to need a launch angle for like a 30-degree launch angle.
It's 385 to center. The wall is not 385 feet.
That would be amazing.
The wall is 16 feet. Oh, Sedano's wearing it today. Challenge show. What do you got for me?
Well, not surprising that the guy from Miami thinks baseball is dying. I understand that. But I don't really have a problem with the Yankees and the Red Sox going. They play 19 times. So 2 of the games aren't going to be in Fenway and Yankee Stadium. They're going to be in London. They're going to be early in the morning. It'll be fun.
You can get a last lick on this if you want.
It's 2 games being played, and what David Price said is a stadium that is smaller than the one he played at in high school. That is gimmicky. Red Sox and Yankees don't need gimmicks. It stands on its own. That's it.
All right. Have you guys seen the idea for the mascot run? I like this. You got to love this. This is a good gimmick. Henry VIII, Winston Churchill, Freddie Mercury, the Loch Ness Monster. Stu Yagats.
Listen, I love what Churchill is doing here. A, he's running with a cigar in his mouth, which is just laugh out loud funny. But B,
like
I don't think he's showing his cards here. He's not showing his hand. I think he's a lot faster than he's giving off in this practice run here. And I think Churchill is going to run away with that.
Listen, the Loch Ness Monster has been playing coy with us for 86 years. We've seen nothing but the top of the head. If this Loch Ness Monster is seeing land and coming and showing us all the goods, it's coming for a win.
I'm concerned about the Loch Ness Gator that they have running there, but Stugatz is right.
Man.
Winston Churchill will race you on the beaches. He'll race you.
Sure he will. There you go. George Sedano.
Well, you get points for stealing my thing. What are you doing?
The Loch Ness. Will you shut up, Stugatz? It's my turn, for God's sake.
Oh, my goodness.
It's anyone but the Loch Ness Monster, reality, because you know what? The Loch Ness Monster's from Scotland, not Great Britain.
Okay. Well, Great Britain is...
United Kingdom.
Scotland is... Okay, this show has gone off the rails here. And you realize there's a mute button, George. I can mute. Look how far back I'm going to push everybody. Here we go. Get away from me, guys. Is this Showdown yet? It almost feels like Showdown. We got TC and Sarah Spade. And everybody else in Buy or Sell next. The NBA sent out memos to teams this morning. Zach Lowe saw him. His report that coaches' challenges are coming to the NBA Summer League, maybe coming to the NBA season. It's a trial this summer. 1 per game per coach can challenge fouls, out of bounds, goaltending, basket interference, cannot challenge no calls. George Sedano, sitting pretty at -8. If we're playing golf, you're really in great place. Buy or sell coaches' challenges in the NBA?
Reality, I'm buying it because I've actually covered the last 2 summer leagues and G League winter showcases where they've had this already implemented. And it's worked fine. I know people are wondering about, the game will be longer and this, that, and the other. No. These things are solved pretty quickly. There's a timer in these situations. And again, you get the call right, which should be the most important thing.
Anybody notice how George said, I actually covered this, opposed to what maybe Tim or Sarah or Stugatz do? Go ahead, Tim.
I actually never dreamed of covering it, but anyway, I do support this. I think it's a fine rule, and I don't think it adds a lot of time. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal either way. I think it's funny they said coach has to have a timeout left. Well, they have 7 in the NBA. They ought to have a timeout left.
All right. Nobody thinks this opens a Pandora's box, maybe like in other sports. Go ahead, Sarah Spain.
Yeah, I mean, I understand people saying another opportunity to slow down the game. The last 2 minutes already takes 45. But it's just once a game, and it's better than the hours or days that we spend talking about a call that they should have gotten right. So get it right. Also, the fact that they have to twirl a finger to ask for this, I want to see Popovich. I want to see Popovich have to look at a ref and...
Stugatz, how about you?
Tony, I've actually been kicked out of the Vegas Summer League.
Yeah, that doesn't
listen, I can tell you. I am buying this. I love it. I agree. I don't think it's going to slow the game down at all. I would like them to implement, hey, if you get your challenge right, you should be able to keep your challenge. I don't think it takes a lot of time, and if you get it right, why should you get the same penalty as if you were to get it wrong? So if you get it right, I think you should keep your challenge for the remainder of the game.
Nobody was challenging whether Stugatz deserved his banishment from the Vegas League. We'll move on. Baseball, the All-Star starters. There's a new All-Star method. Well, that was intense. There's a new All-Star method, not just fan vote over 2 months, which they call the primary. That could have had Aaron Judge instead of Michael Brantley and Ozzie Albies instead of Ketel Marte. But now a fan vote over 2 months, and then that gets you to the top 3, and then 2 more days to vote, yada, yada, yada. This is what you got. You like this new system, Tim? You like these All-Stars?
I mean, I think the fans did a fantastic job overall. They got almost all of it right. I think everything else about the All-Star game is a mess. We don't really know who picks the reserves, and I still don't know why they need 32 players on each team. That is absurd.
Sarah Spain?
Yeah, just what America wanted. Another election. We get a primary. We get another starters election. We just had 2 nights of Democratic debates for 800 candidates. Good to be right on top of things, MLB. But at least I'll say that I think it worked, and it does prevent it from just being whichever team has the most fans voting. You get your top 3 starters, and the people decide based on who's left.
I'm glad you brought up, there were debates, I think, on TV the last 2 nights. Any ideas how we can maybe make this move along, have people not go too long, maybe find a winner? Well, thank you very much, George. Yes. Stu Gatz, on this All-Star format, where are you on this?
Tony, here's where I am at it. I host a national sports show every day, Monday through Friday with Levitard.
Yeah.
I had no idea they changed the voting system for Major League Baseball. Yeah. I have no idea. Like, can't we just figure out a system that works, that puts the best players in to the Midsummer Classic and just roll with that? I guess it prevents stuffing and then double stuffing and all the stuffing that fans like to do.
Double stuffing, sure.
So I guess it's a good double stuff, Tony, on a Friday. How about that?
Nobody's more familiar with double stuffing than you. How about that, George Sedano?
I was actually, to reference what Stu Gatz was doing, I was actually doing my radio show yesterday, and this all popped up on Twitter while I'm sitting there talking about Kawhi, and I'm like, what is going on? Is there actually something happening with baseball?
Yeah.
That goes to show what an unmitigated disaster this has been for Major League Baseball, because I work in sports, we all work in sports, and very few of us knew what was happening. We don't even know the process.
All right, but that's more about...
But my show's higher rated. I mean, there's more people listening to my show. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Oh,
I love you.
We all have radio shows.
This is like Miami on Miami Crime, though. This is incredible.
I'm not even certain if what I said was accurate, to be honest.
my goal here is just to bring Stu Gatz down with me.
All right, this is mutual destruction for you guys. Mutual destruction. We'll move on. Buy or sell 3, the Rays and Twins. They went 18 innings yesterday. It was a day game turned into a night game. 18 innings, Sarah Spain. Are you of the opinion maybe a cap, a limit is necessary in baseball?
Absolutely not. These are very rare, and I love weird baseball. Position players pitching, guys getting tired. It gives you a chance to call up some new faces. I dig it.
I mean, listen, baseball is so boring. We're going to give them 2 games, not just 1. Hey, here's a second helping of no runs scored for 9 innings. Enjoy it. How about 9th inning game tied? Best player versus best player, home run derby. We're all home.
All right. Solutions-oriented, Stu Gatz. George Sedano, how about you?
Cap it at 12 innings. Baseball used to have ties. They should just go back to that. It's very simple.
Nice. Kalish, how about you?
Maybe a little longer than that for a cap. It doesn't happen often, although the Twins think it does. It's happened twice to them in 10 days.
Yeah. So you'd be for ties as well?
14, 15 innings, not 12. Play a little bit.
The best of ties and the worst of ties. Man, Sedano and Stu Gatz were really at each other's throat today to their own destruction. We saw this one coming. Kalish, Spain, showdown next.